Fuller, back from some time off and feeling refreshed, but I've missed the opportunity to have some dialogue with you. So let's get into some hot, healthy topics. So here we are in the month of September and the ninth month of the year. It's a busy time of the year for so many people. And let us know if that's true for you. It's a busy time. School's back in session, and we're back to our school work routines. Kids are back in sports and extracurricular activities. And so many of us adults get busy and stressed. And when we get busy and stressed, we tend to lose our focus, which means a lot of our dinners can come from fast food joints. And I don't know about you, but when I drive through a fast food line, I'm not always counting my calories. So that brings us to our topic today, eating healthy when pressed for time. So let's not waste another minute because we need so much help with this topic. And don't worry because we have some help today. With me this morning is Dr. Maya Vadavalu, Assistant Professor of Nutrition and Food Sciences at the University of Rhode Island. Dr. V, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me today. I'm really excited to be here to be able to chat about something
Absolutely.
like
We're so grateful. Yeah, we're so grateful that you're here. We need as much help as possible on this topic. But before we dive into our dialogue, let's move on and get started with our health in the headlines. Good health is always newsworthy. So each week we select one current headline that ties back to our topic at hand. We bring it to our table and we ask our expert to respond. This week's entry comes to us from our friends at Harvard University. The article is called Keep Health Disease at Bay with a Salad a Day. Now, doctor, I like that title, but is it that easy?
Well, it's definitely a good start. But unfortunately, no, it's not so easy, especially as we're really trying to encourage people to adopt dietary patterns, throughout their entire life, throughout their entire day that really support heart health.
Yeah, I'm going through my salad season right now where I love salads, but I know that might change. So I know I have so many of the similar questions that so many of our guests have been writing in on today. So let's get into our main segment with live viewer questions in You Ask, We Answer. Doctor, I took a peek at some of the questions in the queue, and we have some good questions today. So, our goal today is to try to make good nutrition and good eating habits as simple and easy as possible. So, here we go, Doctor. Our first question comes to us from Troy in Southern California. And Troy wants to know, is there science that shows benefits of eating meals together as a family at home?
Yeah, absolutely, actually. And in fact, the Brazilian dietary guidelines even have that as an explicit part of their recommendation, just because it is so important that we eat together and eat with others. And it does seem to have benefits actually for both adults and kids. For adults that make eating with their families a priority, it seems that they tend to eat healthier foods and also manage their weight a little bit better. But for kids beyond those benefits, it also seems that just sitting down at the table and having time for a meal or to share your day with your family, they tend to feel better about themselves. They're less likely to engage in risky behaviors and maybe even do better in school. So even beyond the nutrition piece, it seems that sitting down in a pleasant environment and getting kids to you know be a part of meal preparation and things can be a great way to encourage heart healthy habits from an early age and just enjoy some nice time with your family.
Absolutely, that is truly important. Casey from Hobbs, New Mexico is wondering, what should we be eating to stay heart healthy? According to Harvard, it's one salad a day.
Well, I'm not going to argue with Harvard there. While salads and other leafy greens are definitely heart healthy foods, there are also a number of other tips that we can use to stay heart healthy. So I really like to recommend, choosing whole grain foods. So whole grain breads, brown rice, even popcorn, especially if you don't add a lot of salt or butter, as a heart healthy snack. choosing plant oils to replace the saturated fats found in meats, choosing other healthy protein sources like nuts, beans, and legumes, unprocessed poultry and fish, and low-fat dairy. But, and this is where people get a little bit more upset, it's also about what you limit to. So we want to really encourage people to reduce their intake of beverages and other foods that have a lot of added sugar, processed meats, and also increasingly foods that are really, really heavily processed.
Absolutely. So it sounds like we need to track our meals just a little bit more. Here's one from Roger. And this question is also a question that I have. My family is on a tight budget. Is it possible to buy healthy food if we're mindful of our spending?
Yeah. Great question. And absolutely, though, it does require some thought and planning. The place where I get this question the most is usually with fresh produce, where it can get really expensive really quickly. And some tips that I usually give people are to try and, shop in season. Sometimes right now here in Rhode Island, apples are coming into season and you can get them for a pretty good price. Also, try to choose some frozen produce at times too, which are just as nutritious and sometimes even better tasting because they're picked at their prime and then flash frozen. Which can also help keep costs down.
Absolutely.
Sometimes, farm boxes from CSAs, lots of things.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, doctor. Now, this is an important question as well. Landry wants to know, how can I get my family to eat more fruits and vegetables? It sounds like Landry wants to make the fruits and vegetables a little entertaining.
Yeah, great question. And it can be tricky, but a lot starts with modeling good behaviors yourself. If parents don't really say that they like fruits and vegetables, kids learn that too. So try and make them, have a variety as much as you can, make it really readily available and accessible. So sometimes pre-cutting some fruits and vegetables, always having them with you, pairing them with a little bit of a dip. So you could use hummus, you could use ranch dressing, or even balsamic vinaigrette, so that it has a nice flavor combination. And then even just adding veggies into things. You can throw it into those little egg white omelets. You can blend it into smoothies pretty easily. And so there's just a lot of different ways that you can try pairing them and just offer them, meals, snacks, wherever you are.
Absolutely. So it sounds like we have to step outside of the box when we're implementing our fruits and vegetables into our diet. Here's a question from Tony in Illinois. A lot of people are talking about screen-free meals, but if we're eating healthy food, why would that matter?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it goes back to the question earlier about family meals. Healthy eating is more than just about what we're eating, it's also the why and how. So when we sit down and we take time to enjoy our meals, we probably slow down our eating a little bit too. And it takes about 20 minutes for your stomach to signal your brain that you're actually full. And it gives you a little bit of time to process that. It can help you pay a little bit more attention to your hunger and fullness cues when you're not distracted by a screen. And so that might help us when we're like overeating certain foods. And like I said, when you sit down and have a pleasant eating environment, it really does help with a lot of forms of connection, just feeling good about ourselves. And when we feel good about ourselves, it's easier to make healthy choices sustainable.
Absolutely. Here's one from Debbie in Jackson, Mississippi. Debbie wonders, what if I just don't have time to cook? How can I choose healthy takeout options?
Yeah. The great news about that is that so many restaurants are starting to offer more healthy takeout options, and you really want to be applying the same principles that you're using at home to when you're ordering meals there. So, try and choose whole grains and those healthy protein sources. Sometimes you can even do a mix and match where maybe you're doing part of your meal as takeout, like maybe you're getting a rotisserie chicken, and then at home you're adding a bunch of, leafy greens, that salad a day, so that if the place that you're getting takeout doesn't have vegetables, you have a way to pair it and make sure that you're still including it in your meal.
Absolutely. So it sounds like we have to do some pre-planning, to make mealtime a success. Here's another question from Paula, and she wants to know, how does diet increase or reduce our risk of heart disease?
That's a great question as well. Diet's tremendously important. And even today, we only know some of the ways that diet actually affects heart disease. We know that things like fruits, vegetables, whole grains are rich in potassium. And so when you consume those you also help reduce your blood pressure consistent with like the DASH diet. There are also good sources of fiber, which help keep us fuller. They may help feed some of the healthy bacteria in our guts and help lower our cholesterol. And those foods are also rich in phytochemicals, which are these compounds found in plants that we can't seem to extract from the plant itself and put into a pill. So they offer a bunch of benefits even beyond just the nutrients that we talked about. And then, it's also replacing some of our foods with these healthier foods. So when we replace sources of saturated fat, often from meats, with unsaturated fats found in plant oils, we also reduce cholesterol in the body, we reduce inflammation. And similarly, when we decrease how much added sugar we're consuming, those independently decrease our risk of heart disease and stroke, and risk factors like type 2 diabetes.
Doctor, our final question comes to us from Heidi. Heidi wants to know, what are some tips for making sure people get the nutrients they need throughout the day?
Yeah, so this really goes back to what you were just saying about we do need to have a little bit of planning. And, I really encourage people to have diet as one of their priorities in a day. So if you allow yourself a little bit of time to plan so that you develop a meal and snack routine that works with your family, includes foods that you truly enjoy, and then also considering what foods fuel your body, it can help with making sure that you have the food on hand that you need, that it's really accessible when you're hungry and need a snack. It varies from person to person. I'm not incredibly a morning person, so I like to make my lunch and sometimes prep a few things for breakfast the night before so that I know I have a healthy option when I wake up. And I never leave the house without a snack.
Dr. V, you have been amazing, and we thank you for helping us tackle this tough topic. So many people are struggling with eating healthy, time management, all of those things. So we thank you so much because you have provided so much helpful advice to help us tackle not only the pandemic, but what I call the poundemic. Is there anything else that you'd like to add before leaving us today?
Not really. I think, just do your best. This is a habit that you're trying to develop for the rest of your life. So choose foods you like, get your kids involved in growing food, preparing food, and hopefully we can all have healthy patterns.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Doctor, for your time. And friends, that does it for our show today. We want to make sure you stay connected to our show. Make sure you follow any of our social media, but how about going to visit AHA's House Calls YouTube playlist so you can catch up on our previous episodes, and don't forget to hit subscribe and also share it with your family and friends. Thanks for tuning in with us this morning. Join us next week as we discuss mental health issues. But until then, take care of yourselves, eat well. I know I'm getting ready to go get a salad. See you next time.
Learn more about House Calls, Real Docs, Real Talk, and submit your questions at